The car accident happened. The ambulance showed up. The police showed up. I was worried about the children, about my wife, about my mother-in-law. I ended up getting a concussion. I was bedridden for 8 months. I couldn't lift my own children. I was super depressed. I went into a dark night of the soul.
Mhm.
I was angry at God because, of course, who am
Mhm.
I going to blame? I'm going to blame God. I had no power over this. You did this. I'm a young father. I'm supporting my family now because of you. My effing life is fucked up. Look at this. I can't lift my own children. Excuse
Oh,
my
yeah.
French. No offense.
Been
Love
there.
God.
Okay. Hello, listeners. I am very excited to bring this episode to you because this is a modality that when I first heard about it, it scared the shit out of me. I'm going to be honest. It was probably, I don't know, 7, 8 years ago when I started to hear about QHHT, and I didn't know what to make of it. I was, I don't know, maybe a newbie and vulnerable to different quantum modalities. They're very different from the physical modalities that I was very well versed in and working with clients. This is a totally different realm of healing. And when I say realm, I really do mean realm. I have with me here today a QHHT practitioner. Now, if you don't know what QHHT stands for, it is Quantum Healing Hypnosis Technique. And it was the hypnosis that tripped me up, that made me really very nervous, a little jittery about the whole thing. But when I finally got past that and I really felt very called to do a session, forget about it. It blew my mind. It really did. It blew my mind. And so much was done in one session that could have taken, and I'm not lying, this is not hyperbole. This would have taken years to be able to unpack, and it was done in one session in a matter of hours. Hours. And that took me all the way up until now to being who I am and what I'm doing. So I'm ready to blow the doors off of all of this. I'm thrilled to pieces to invite Ali Christos to the studio with me today. Ali, thank you so much for being here. Welcome to Find Your Flow.
Thank you for having me, and I'm excited to be here.
Ali, just a quick question. Where in the world are you?
At the current moment, I'm in Toronto.
Nice. So here's the thing, listener, about QHHT. It doesn't matter where he is. It doesn't. You can do this online. You can go to his website, scroll down. There's a link. I'm telling you about this because I'm super excited. And I know that I usually wait until like maybe mid-episode to the end of the episode to tell you. Scroll down, hit the link. But what I want you to understand about this is literally, it doesn't matter where you are. This modality meets you. It meets you. Mind, body, soul, location. It meets you where you are. So, Ali, let's dive in because I'm super curious how your life brought you to being a QHHT practitioner, how you found it. And I'd like to start off with what's your definition of flow?
Well, flow used to mean productivity to me. And as we discussed before the show, I lived in New York for about 15 years of my life where productivity rules.
For
And it's
sure.
all about, what can you do? How big can you do it? How fast can
Mhm.
you do it? How great can you do it? How loud can you do it?
Everything is
So,
hard there, like play hard, work
mhm.
hard. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, which, has its allure, has its place. And I really, really enjoyed much of it. Although after being there for 15 years, I realized that it's not what I want any longer. And it didn't just happen overnight that I came to that realization. It actually happened with a few incidences, if you will, that occurred in my life. Some of them were near death experiences.
Mhm.
Another one was my dear friend, who was also my massage therapist for 8 years, Dina. She recommended that I do some yoga training. And to which I laughed initially because I said, "Hey, I'm doing real estate in New York and that's my thing." And she's like, "Look, it's not that you need to become a teacher. Just, it's who you'll become out of the training."
Mm.
And man, do I appreciate her so much for that nudge, for that push, because that just started a whole journey down the rabbit hole of spirituality.
I love that. My introduction to basically that threshold into who I am today happened in New York. It was
Wow.
a gyrotonic method teacher training that took place in New York. So it's
Interesting.
that
How long
same
ago was
thing.
that?
Maybe, oh God, how old am I?
I didn't ask you that.
That's I have to do math backwards. It's probably like 15 years ago, something
All
like that.
right, good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all
But
good.
I
We're
like
we're
our
we're
daughter
ancient
lives
beings,
there.
so 15 years is nothing.
Nothing. I mean, that's
Nothing.
nothing. It's
It's
a
a
blip.
blimp. Exactly.
But our daughter is in New York, and I told her before moving there, I said, New York is a vibe. And it either straps a rocket to your back and launches you into who you are, or it completely obliterates you and you get
100%.
lost.
Yes.
There's no in between in New York. So it's, I love. There's no in between.
Maybe I got launched and then I got lost, or because somehow I
Well, you
experienced
get
both.
launched and become, right?
New York was incredible. I mean, I got to, when I talk about productivity, I got to appear in the Wall Street Journal on the cover of the real estate section, which even if I paid like 10 grand for, I probably wouldn't have gotten that opportunity. I was in the New York Times. I was on various TV shows, including Million Dollar Listing a couple of times. So all these things served my ego very well.
Sure.
But unfortunately, it left me feeling very empty inside. I ended up buying multiple properties, developing a dream home in Long Island, building the most incredible basement for my 3 children that was something that I like out of Disney World, but for a basement,
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
all these things to say that, for me, I was searching for all of the satisfaction externally. If I get this car, I'll feel happy. If I get that house, I'll feel happy. If I get that deal, I'll feel happy. If I make this much money, I'll be happy. If I get featured here, then I'll be happy. If I win this award, that award, I'll be happy. And all throughout this journey, I've had coaches and mentors, and so many of them tried to point me down the spiritual path. They would say, "Hey, what have you heard of the book Conversations with God?" I'm
I
like,
love, hey.
I said, what does that have anything to do with business? Because for me, I was allergic to the word God. Because of my upbringing, I was raised Muslim, nothing bad about Islam per se, but my own upbringing was quite conservative in a sense and
Mhm,
traditional,
mhm,
both culturally and a little bit religiously as well, especially as I grew into an adult. My sisters start to wear the hijab and they start to become a lot more practicing Muslims, if you will. And they start to consider me to be an outcast because I went into
mhm.
yoga and meditation and many of these practices by a lot of religious people, if you will, are not looked upon very fondly, unfortunately, or at least that's the way it used
It's
to be.
funny when they go, "Did you join a cult?" Right?
Yeah,
No?
well,
No,
I've
but I
joined
could
many
say the
cults.
same to you. Like, I
Exactly,
mean,
exactly.
I could go to the Wawa and be considered in a cult. I
Yeah,
mean, it's just
exactly.
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly right. So for me, and you say cult because it's rings something funny inside me because I've been attracted to different spiritual teachers throughout the
Mhm,
past 2 decades, in particular. And one of them was my yoga teacher, who I still love and admire, Sri Dharma Mitra, who's in New York, by the way, if you ever get a chance. Living legend. He's been one of my spiritual mentors. I remember going to his studio for the first time in Flatiron, and he was traveling. He was not there. Yet when I was in his yoga studio, I could feel his presence. And
mhm.
during the yoga class, I started tearing up and I couldn't explain it. It was, and usually I don't buy into any of this stuff, woo woo stuff. His students had said, "Oh, he's a living saint." I'm like, "Sure, he is." You know? That
Yeah,
was my
okay.
take on things, right? And
I was
here
just
I
told to
am.
come here.
You know what I mean? Exactly. I just
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm experiencing this thanks to my friend Dina. And then I'm like, you know what? This is really strange. There's something here. So I got to meet
Mhm,
this man. So when he comes back from his trip, I think he was in Israel at the time teaching. He came back and he was leading his master class. Now, I was naive because it was a 2-hour class, and at least for an hour, they were doing different inversions, different types of headstands. And I was still, I would say, relative beginner to intermediate yoga student. And here I am, what felt like in a Cirque du Soleil of yoga.
Right.
People are doing, they're like ex ballerinas or
Yes. Oh, yes.
gymnasts, and they're doing all sorts of inversions. And I'm feeling super intimidated, and I could hardly hold, a tripod headstand for a couple of seconds back then. And I found the people in the community to be so loving, so nice. Many of them left their practice to come to my mat and help me out. And at the end of the 2 hours, they had a little discourse with Sri Dharma Mitra. And I remember I had asked some sort of silly question looking back at it now. But I was very moved by his presence and his energy and the students and the community he had created. So I decided to join and learn yoga from him. And as part of my training, I also went to India. This was not required, but I was planning to go there anyways. So I ended up staying at I call it an ashram, but it was a luxury ashram if you ever get a chance.
I love that.
It's called Shriyas. They have like
If you're going to
incredible
do
ratings.
it right.
Whatever that means to you. For me, comfort
Exactly.
happens to be important. And so at that time I could afford it, and I went there. It was beautiful. It's part of a chateau relay of hotels kind of vibe that they have. It was an ex-banker from the UK who was burnt out, and he went to like South Bangalore and bought 25 acres, built this incredible resort with just 15 luxury tents. And each tent has like, there's like 4 or 5 gurus on site. And by gurus, I mean they specialize in either certain types of meditations or different modalities that they can help you with. And you can choose different packages. So I chose this package. They have something called Mona. I don't know if you heard of Mona meditation, where you go in silence. It's something Gandhi used to do on a regular basis. Many of the great masters have done it. And so they had that as a package option for you to experience. They had Ayurvedic cooking. And I'm not very good at cooking. I am great at eating. My partner will tell you that. That is true. So I said, okay, I'm not doing that probably. The other things that they had was Ayurvedic massages, which I tried, and they were incredible. Yoga, we did like 2-3 times a day. We did yoga as we know it in the West, which is mostly the asanas, the physical form. And we did meditations about 3-4 times a day as well. Different types of meditations, walking meditations, drishti meditations where we're just staring at a flame and then closing our eyes, whirling meditations, what they do in Turkey. The Sufis do that. So I got to experience many different things. And the hardest thing that I experienced there was being in silence for about 5 days. I thought it would be easy for me. I'm like, hey, like I'm a guy. I probably don't talk that much. And I can deal with this piece because, I've been married at that time a second time. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to appreciate this silence. And I did appreciate it. But before I actually got to the appreciation, it was suffering in many ways, because if you've ever tried to be silent for more than a day, you find that your mind starts to go crazy. I mean, it's making up stuff, it's bringing up things. And for me, after a couple of days, it kind of transmuted into something where I was getting inspiration. I didn't know I was a poet, but I started to get poems and I started to write them down. I'm like, this is cool. And it was really tough in the beginning and even the middle part of it, because in the first day that I was there, I made lots of friends. There were people there from all over the world. There was a lawyer from Bahrain. There was someone else from Australia. People were visiting from all over just to find their peace. And they had different packages. So most of them, I found them to be talking even after I went into the Mona part of the package. And they positioned me during the meals to have my own table, but I was not allowed to speak, which in the beginning was quite frustrating because, I was developing these bonds, and so you start to feel lonely. You start to feel like you're becoming an outcast, and that's not a very comfortable feeling for the ego. But what was really cool was outside of our tents, these luxury tents, they had these whiteboards where you can write your questions. So every day I would write a question because this was my way of communicating with the outside world, because we didn't have access to our phones either, by the way, which I think back then I didn't think of a big deal, but this day and age, it's hard to imagine to be without your phone. And to cut a long story short about this trip, what I ended up discovering was that being silent and listening to my inner voice, I started to get intuition and answers that I didn't realize could come from within me. And that was very insightful for me, to say the least. And I'd love to talk more about it, maybe perhaps on another episode, but I want to tie it into some of the other experiences for the benefit of your guests that are listening. So that was one major experience in my life that allowed me to see spirituality from a lens that allowed me to, it was almost like a buffet of spiritual experiences that you could have. And what better place than India to have that, right? So I was really grateful for that experience. And then when I came back, I pursued my yoga training. And whilst I was in the yoga training, I became terribly ill and I could not continue my yoga training. It's interesting how life happens.
Listen, I'm like holding back a chuckle because your story is so reminiscent of my own. Please
Well, there's no
continue.
coincidence that we've come
Oh,
to
no,
this
there's no
conversation.
coincidence.
You know, I was speaking earlier about near-death experiences. One of the most profound ones that I had was a car accident on Christmas Eve of 2011, just prior to me looking to complete my yoga training. I got into a serious car accident in New Jersey, of all places. We were going from New York to New Jersey. It was an event at a mosque. I was there with, I had my mother-in-law at the time driving, my wife at the time in the passenger seat. I was in the back with my twins, who were about less than a year old at the time, strapped into car seats. And it was raining. And as you know, New Jersey, that sometimes those highways, they all of a sudden will come to a light, which
That's
for
right.
a New Yorker, it's like, what the F, like, what's going on here?
I know.
And my mother-in-law is not like, as she's aging, God bless her, her eyesight's not serving her very well. And it
And that
was
reaction
raining.
time.
Exactly. It was nighttime. Luckily we were in an SUV. She braked, like the last second or two before passing the red light, and behind us was another SUV. And what was really interesting was, at the moment that the accident happened, just prior to that, I was staring into the eyes of my daughter and asking, "Where's God?"
I have chills.
And I was actually tearing up, because it's almost as if God was all around me and right in front of me, deep within me, and yet I could not experience him or her.
Yes.
It was just like, and I was being, now that I look back at it, I judge a part of myself for being ungrateful and not present, not being mindful of the blessings and the manifestations of God that are all around us and within us. And so that was the moment where we had the car accident. When the car accident happened, the ambulance showed up, the police showed up, and I was worried about the children, about my wife, about my mother-in-law. And they said, "You know what? Don't worry about them. They could be in a race car. They'd be okay because of the car seats they were in. We're worried about you because you're the only one who's not wearing a seatbelt." And sure enough, yeah, my God, I ended up getting a concussion, and I was bedridden for 8 months. I couldn't lift my own children. I was super depressed. I went into what a lot of people would call the dark night of the soul. I was angry at God because, of course, who am I going to blame? I'm going to blame God, because you know what? I had no power over this. You did this. I was an athlete my whole life. I'm a young father. I'm supporting my family now because of you. My effing life is fucked up. Look at this. I can't lift my own children. Fuck you. Excuse my French. No offense. Love God.
Been there.
You would not believe
God
this.
takes it on the chin, because we're like, gotta have somebody to blame. Yep, I know.
But I will never forget that night and the next morning, because that night I was lying next to my son, and in the other room was my wife at the time and my son's twin sister with her. So kind of like divide and conquer because,
Yeah.
when you have babies, especially
Yeah.
the first 6 months, they wake up quite often. And then when you have twins, it's triple that challenge. One cries, the other cries. One
That's
gets
right.
sick, the other gets sick. One wakes up, the other wakes up. So we had a system going. And I figured nobody must have realized that I am, freaking the F out and ready to end my life possibly, because
Yeah.
that's where I was going. I was
Yeah.
going to a really dark place. The next morning I get a call, and the call is from Ireland of all places. And I'm like, I don't know anyone in Ireland. I don't think I know anyone in Ireland. And I hear this Irish accent and I'm like, Lorna? I don't know if you have ever heard of a lady by the name of Lorna Byrne, Angels in My Hair.
Yep.
It was her calling me. And
Uh-huh.
I did not know she had my number. I didn't know what this was all about. I was shocked, but know that I was a huge fan of hers. So I was like, what, Lorna? How can I help you? What's going on? And she's like, I have heard. I said, heard what? She goes, I've heard what you've been going through. I'm like, are you spying on me? Like, what's going on here, And she's like, I've heard and I've been told that you're going to make it through this. And I have to say, it was those words of hers that gave me the courage, gave me the resilience to see another day and then another day, go to therapy, get better. Don't listen to the doctors. All due respect to doctors. I have a lot of doctors in my family. I love them. There's a place for them.
There's a time and a place. Yep.
Exactly. And at the same time, it was the doctors who were saying, well, you cannot do yoga training. You cannot continue with it because it would be suicide. You have herniated discs in your neck. It resonates with you, doesn't it? You have herniated discs in your lower
Everything
back.
about what you're saying resonates with me 1,000%. Yep. Go ahead.
Okay,
Holy,
good.
yep.
Feel free to stop
Makes
me.
you mad. I mean, it lights a fire in you to go,
Oh,
fuck
for
this,
sure.
fuck that, fuck you.
Yeah.
No one tells me. Yep.
Especially us, I feel like us tri-state people, we don't like to be told what to do.
We really don't. My husband calls it the East Coast bias.
That's being nice.
And that is so generous. I mean, it really is.
East Coast bias.
Yeah.
Sounds very, very, very gentle.
Oh, it's kind. It's very kind.
So I take it he's not from the East Coast.
No, he is. Are you kidding me? Yeah, he's from Pennsylvania. He's a Pennsylvania guy. So yeah, he's like, he says it as a badge of honor. Like we should be celebrated for our East Coast bias.
It took me a while to get used to coming back to Canada. So I was originally born in Montreal in Canada. But when I graduated from my undergrad, I ended up moving to New York, working in just to take advantage of the green card that I had gotten through my aunt. She had worked on it for over a decade. And it would have been a loss if I just stayed in Canada. So thankfully to my mom's encouragement, I'm saying encouragement, but she basically said, what are you doing, beta? You have a green card. Your uncle is in New York. He has a construction business. He needs your help. Why don't you go there? Don't waste your life.
Okay, it's the whole scene. It's the accent. It's the head bobble. It's all of it. I think I love your mother.
Well, she'll kill me because my dad actually speaks more like that. My mom, her English, oh my God, God bless her. She's been in Canada for like 40 years and it's still awesome. Like I say awesome because I used to be embarrassed by it, but
for sure.
They're your parents, and because of we stand on the shoulders of our parents, you know what I mean?
Yes.
In so many ways. So growing up, of course, I was embarrassed by my parents so much. Their cooking, their accent.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, I get it. Now I can actually make fun of my own people and not be called a racist.
That's right.
That's one of the big advantages, by the way.
I'm Japanese. I'm Japanese.
Are you?
And Irish.
Konnichiwa.
Yeah. So
what?
my mother is Japanese.
That's
so
wild. What a
I
mix.
always say I can say that because I'm Japanese.
Yeah. So you get it's a great privilege to have.
Yes.
Yeah. So and speaking of this, I actually joined an organization while I was in New York called Toastmasters. I don't know if you ever heard of them.
Yep.
So I was inspired by Deepak Chopra at the time because he was a distinguished Toastmaster. I'm like, what's this Toastmaster thing? And then when I looked into it, I'm like, wow, I can practice public speaking and leadership let's do it.
Okay.
So I ended up, the type A in me, I ended up joining several of them across New York City. And I was like, oh, there's one that was winning all the awards. It was the one in Bryant Park at the time. And they had like a 6-month waiting list, and you had to prove yourself and show up to every meeting and volunteer. So I'm like, okay, let's do it. So I did that. And then they're like, okay, we have a competition for speaking. And okay, I wanted to do inspirational speaking, but that competition had passed. The next one was humorous speaking. And I didn't think that you could plan on being humorous, but of course, comedians do that all the time. But I didn't know
Absolutely.
I could do it. But I signed up anyways. I made a speech using my dad's accent. Thank you, Dad.
Love it so much.
And I ended up winning in my club. And then I went up to the next level, the district level. I kept winning. And I started to freak out because I was like, wow, if I keep going, I might become a comedian. And I've heard comedians have a very high suicide rate.
Yeah, right? A lot of, yes,
Comedians
a
and
lot of
cops. And I'm like,
unprocessed trauma
yeah.
happening
Oh my
with
God.
comedians. Yeah.
And I love comedians. I love comedy. And I was just like, I don't know if I want to make this a career. And also, I am kind of making fun of my father and his accent.
Right. Right.
So I was
Right.
just like, you know what? I think I got the taste of it. I'm good to quit while I'm ahead. But yeah, I'm an award-winning speaker, thanks
Nice.
to my dad.
Nice.
My speech, if you're curious, was based on a really, to me, was a hilarious conversation my dad had with me when I had graduated from college and I had divorced my first wife, and I was 24. I was working for a cell phone company in Gatineau, Quebec. And I remember that day, my dad calls me up. He calls me beta, which means son, right? He's like, hello, beta. I'm like, yes, dad. He's like, you have graduated, you got divorced, and, you're living by yourself. I have question for you. And I'm like, okay. Yeah, I figured it's going to be something big and deep, right? And he says, beta, are you the gay? I said, what? Are you the gay? And I'm like, I just had to like distance myself from the phone and laugh so hard. I'm like, this is hilarious, Dad. What would make you think that I'm gay? And he
Not
says, well,
not
beta,
gay, a gay, the
the
gay.
gay, the gay. Are you the gay? And my dad's like, well, beta, you never showed me you ever had girlfriend. You never brought home any girls. You never showed interest in girls. You had a lot of guy friends. You wear pink socks, and you are
Oh,
very,
God bless him.
and so my dad, he comes from this machismo culture in India and Pakistan,
Yeah.
where, it's just men don't cry, men don't emote, men definitely don't wear pink or paisley.
Right. Right.
And I was giving him all the signs that I'm gay. And then I had to explain to him, I'm like, Dad, because of our culture and my respect for you and Mom, I never brought home a girl, but I've had many girlfriends. I actually lost my virginity when I was a teenager, but I would never dare share any of that with you guys or
Right.
let, the public know, out of respect for you and the culture. And my dad's like, oh, okay. Even now, I'm now with my third life partner, if you will, and my father recently met her, and he was like, I said, what happened?
Oh, God.
And he's like, at least she is not a man. And I'm like, Dad, really? I have 3 children. I've had all these girlfriends that you now know about, and you still question. I'm like, okay, yeah, maybe I am the gay, and I just don't know. You know.
So funny. Well, you're a
Yeah,
beautiful balance of the masculine and the feminine.
I
Maybe
would
that's
hope so.
confusing on an energetic level.
Well, I do have, speaking of QHHT and past life regressions, I have a very strong memory of a lifetime where I was a woman, and not just that, I was an
Okay.
Italian woman. And this was confirmed by a very dear psychic friend of mine out in Orlando. And he had done a reading for me about 2 decades ago. And he confirmed that, yes, I was an Italian woman, and I was not able to bear children.
Mm,
And my partner wanted children. And so as a result, for whatever reason, I decided to let him go so that he could experience that with another woman. And I was really heartbroken by that. And I ended up coming to America, and that lifetime had a very deep and profound impact on my current lifetime. And strangely enough, interestingly enough, when I was young, growing up in Montreal, we had like an international channel, and whenever the Italian shows would come on, I would just put them on to listen to the language. I was intrigued by it. I loved it. I loved everything Italian, the food, the women, the men, the cars, the culture, the artistic nature, how they dressed, everything, even till this day. I felt very like akin to it. It was very familiar to me. And so that connection helped me to realize that, okay, that makes sense. And then through my own experience coming back to QHHT, I had been hypnotized 4 times now through QHHT. And each time it's been profound and unique. As you know, and as you may have heard, and for the benefit of your listeners, every time you do it, any time that you do it, you get what you're meant to get, and you experience what you're meant to experience. And what I mean by that is everyone's experience is unique. And even if you do it multiple times, it will be a unique experience. And that's been my own experience. It's been the experience of my clients, the experience that I've heard from other practitioners, including my teacher, Dolores Cannon. I take it you've heard of Dolores Cannon, correct?
Listeners,
Man,
if you
I love that
haven't,
woman.
do a Google search.
Yes.
There's not enough time. We could talk for 8 hours. There's not enough time to cover Dolores Cannon.
Yeah. What a lovely lady. She was, to answer your question that maybe you asked me earlier, was how I came about to doing QHHT. Finally, I'm answering your question.
Are you kidding me? All of this. I love this conversation.
Good. Same. Honored to be here. So how I got to QHHT was a couple of years ago. My partner, who is in banking, she's very left brain, very logical minded, very grounded, as opposed to me. I'm very creative. I'm very out there. I'm very artistically minded, if you will. I can easily be, feel gravitated towards spiritual talk, but her, it's very rare. She's very selective in terms of who she'll listen to when it comes to spirituality. So she's the one who brought up Dolores to me, and she said, "Hey, check out this lady. What is she talking about? It's so interesting. She's talking about, the convoluted universe. She's talking about past lives. She's talking about something called QHHT." And I got hooked. I was like, wow, she's cool. I used to listen a lot to Abraham Hicks and the Law of Attraction. I love that. For years and years, I was like a big fan. I still am. And then when I heard of Dolores, I was like, wow, this woman is so raw, so real, so, not coming from ego, really speaking her truth and not afraid, and it was just very refreshing. Right?
Listeners, she just sort of sits in the middle of a stage, talks to the audience, doesn't give a shit. Like, it's the most amazing.
And she's from like the middle of nowhere, Arkansas.
The middle of nowhere.
And she sounds like she's like, she sounds like she's from like the middle of nowhere, but and at the same time, she doesn't give a shit. So it's like she's probably a New Yorker in her last life. Right? She's like, she doesn't give a shit.
Ignore the beehive. I'm just telling you like it is. And you're like,
I love it.
Yes, everything,
my God.
Everything.
There's an interview that Dolores has that if you haven't seen it, is so worth watching, especially for us East Coasters, where she's being interviewed by a reporter, and the reporter's talking to her because she prophesies that the financial system is going to collapse, something of that sort, right? And so he's questioning about it, but from a very, biased media perspective where, it's like, so you think that the financial collapse is imminent, and isn't that going to be a terrible thing? And she looks at him and she's like, for you it will. I'm just like, that's the most bitchiest response I've ever heard from her. But, the way Dolores does it is so loving. Like it's like a mom, just putting you in your place.
Get your shit together and it won't be that bad.
And she's like, look, from your perspective, it's a 3D world. We're moving into a whole new world where none of that will matter. We're going to
Right.
realize our interconnectedness. We're going to realize so many things. It's going to be a beautiful awakening and rebirth. And you're talking about the finance system, and you're all worried about it.
Right. Right. Like,
So
have you
I
any
was like,
clue?
I love
Yep.
this woman. Yeah.
I love it. I love
You know,
it.
so I'm so grateful that I got to experience and hear her talking, you know, while she's still alive. There's so many masters that have traversed this earth that we hear about, but by the time we hear their message, the messages have been distorted.
Right.
Maybe like
Right.
God knows how many times, right? And not to go into the religions, but this is what
That's where
you're
my
right.
brain went as well. Yes.
Exactly. So, but this is what attracts me to people like Esther Hicks, who channels
Mhm.
Abraham, and Neil Donald Walsh, who apparently talks to God directly. And I love his books, by the way. If you haven't read them, I highly encourage your listeners to check it out. I know that I resisted it for more than a decade, even though my coaches told me several times to check it out, to listen to it. I didn't. Yeah, yeah. Have you read any
I
of his
love
books?
that. Listeners, listen, if something, I used to live by the rule of threes. If something was introduced to me 3 times, it was an automatic. I'll do it. Okay. Now I'm down to 2. If something shows up in my life twice, I'm game. I'll take a look at it.
My mind goes to bad places. When you say rule of three, I think of threesomes. I told my partner about the rule of threes, and she was going to give me the rule of slaps.
Yeah. Here's a rule of beating.
A rule of beating. Oh.
Yes. Ali, there's so much of your story that is reminiscent to my own. I mean, I was in New York, I was doing the gyrotonic training, and gyrotonic, for those who don't know what it is, it's very much like yoga and Pilates, Tai Chi, swimming, dance, all molded into one modality that once you start practicing, it releases all of this emotion from your physical body. So there I am in New York learning what should be just exercises. And I am like in the East Village, drowning in tears on the streets where the only thing I could think was, thank God this is happening in New York. No one gives a shit. They're like, lady, get out of the way. I'm going to the Turkish bath. And I was like, no one cares that I'm having a complete meltdown. But my instructor came out and was like, are you okay? I was like, I will be. And he was like, all right, when you're ready, just come on in. This is totally normal. That breakdown through the body reawakening is huge. Then in the middle of my training, I had to put it all on hold because I had emergency surgery to take an ovary out. And that was an awakening of my body. All of this trauma, all of this damage done to my left ovary was awakened, and it had to get out of me. It had to leave. So there was that. And then I had a spinal injury that left me for 9 months in a wheelchair and unable to
Oh my
see
God.
or hear or feed myself or, whatever. Lost all independence. And I was a mother of 2 at the time, 2 young kids. And my lowest moment where I was begging God to take the burden that was me. It's like, I am a shit mother, a shit wife, a shit daughter, a shit friend, a shit sister. I have 0 value. What worth am I when I am literally just a sack of potatoes sitting on a couch propped up with pillows? And in that broken moment of utter silence, 9 months of silence, couldn't hear. 9 months of silence, I said, God, take the burden that is me. And what I was met with was this voice that lit the inside of me. It wasn't a voice you could hear. It was a resonance that echoed throughout my body that said, you have all the answers you need, the God within. And I went, oh my God. And then, long story short, what I wound up doing was taking that moment of becoming and creating a whole new life out of it. And here I am right here, right now, today. And that journey through gyrotonic, I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go and study in Germany where all of this was born." So I went to Germany where it was born. And I was like
Amazing.
trying to get to the essence of, I guess, myself through different modalities. And in that journey is where I was introduced to QHHT. The thing that I would like listeners to take away the most is QHHT is very much, a practice of trust and surrender. If you go to a yoga class, you're going to have people there who can literally physically support you, who can share in your surrender. QHHT is saying, "I trust in my guide to be able to reach what it is that I'm meant to hear and discover today." So it's very important that you trust your guide. When I was first introduced to it, I was introduced to it by a practitioner, and I was like, you know what? I don't fully trust that this person knows what they're doing. I don't fully trust in the authenticity of their intention. So it wasn't the modality, it was the intention of the practitioner. And you can say that about anything and everything. I mean, I guess I started to learn to discern through my medical journey because I started looking at doctors and professionals and going, you're telling me that I'm never going to recover. You're telling me that I'm batshit crazy because I'm telling you there's a mass at the base of my skull. I am telling you these things, and you're like, okay, Lisa, pat on the head. Take this medication, take that medication. You're never going to be whole again. I mean, okay, thank you, but step aside. I'm going to do what soul tells me to do. I'm going to do what God tells me to do, what universe tells me to do, light, love, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to trust that over your limited expertise. So this discernment is really super important, listener. Super, super important. You have to trust the guide that's going to get you there. And hypnosis is one of those things. If you can't surrender, then you have a limited experience. But there's also glory in that you discover, oh, wait a second, I've got boundaries and I've got um, little hiccups of my own. And maybe I need to lean into that in a different way. But when I've done 2 QHHT sessions, and holy shit, balls to the wall, my guide. The first one was, I went in with a list of questions, and you get what you ask for with QHHT. My very first question was, tell me how it all began. I want to know it all. Take me to the big bang. How did all of this
Oh my
begin? And
God.
I was taken on this journey of creation that was so beautiful. I mean, gobstruck. Just to be in the pool of existence and climb out. And the colors, the feelings, the sensations, the smells, it was just absolutely indescribable. And then to be taken from that moment and sort of shown like on a movie screen almost, taken from scene to scene, all of these different lives that I've lived to become who I am here, right now. The and I went, that's birth. That's birth. Like me being born into this here right now, that ain't nothing. Nothing. Now I get it. I mean, we're talking, millions upon billions of years of existence, and not just mine, but yours, and listener, yours. We're all commingled. We are all one, and that's what that means, that I live your experience, you live my experience, and in the essence of our DNA and our cells, we get to actually embody all of that. How beautiful is that? And in my second one, I went in with a very specific question. I wanted to know, which is interesting, I wanted to know why my nephew struggled. Why? Why does he have to struggle so much? And what I was shown was this beautiful, many, many lives that we've lived together where I've gotten to witness his life and death, his creation and rebirth and struggles, and bring it all to the here and now. All of that makes sense. And through the act of love, interconnectedness, he received peace without me ever saying a goddamn word to him. It was just the most amazing, incredible, impactful experience. And I don't share what I don't know. I will research things. That's the analyst in me. I was in finance. My husband's in finance. And then, there's the flip into the spiritual. So I will research the shit out of things before I ever start experiencing them or dabbling or sharing. But this listeners, you can take it to the bank. I promise you, this is absolutely incredible. When you feel called to do it, just do it. Just do it. Oh my God.
Wow.
So what? I mean, I've got so many questions. And then that you got to study with Dolores Cannon. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Dolores is incredible, and I'm so grateful that a woman like her in our lifetime came up with a modality that is so profound and yet so simple.
Mm-hmm.
And, for the benefit of your listeners who may not have experienced this, you owe it to yourself to look into Dolores Cannon, look into QHHT, what it is, and look for a practitioner that resonates with you. It may not be me,
Yes.
maybe someone else, and I'm completely okay with that because, everyone feels, resonance with somebody and may not with another person. That's normal.
Yes.
And I've had people that they'll hear my voice or they'll see one of my videos of my sessions, which I have on my YouTube channel, and they'll say, wow, that's the person I want to be hypnotized by. And so whoever's meant to come to me will come to me. And I am a believer of that.
Yes.
And if for anything else, if you are hearing about QHHT for the first time and you go and discover it with someone and that locally or anywhere else, that alone is a gift, because it's like Lisa said earlier, we're all connected. So if I give something to you, it's like I'm giving it to myself. If I take something from you, I'm taking it from myself, because there is only one. The illusion is that we're separate.
Right.
This is the great Maya that we're living in, the illusion of separateness that we're experiencing. And QHHT, for me, when I experienced it the first time, I was very nervous. I was very scared. I didn't know if it would work for me. I didn't know what I would say, what I wouldn't say. I still remember the moments where I was just starting the induction process and putting me under. And I was freaking out because I'm so used to being in control that I was like, oh my God, what's going to happen? Even though the practitioner was super sweet, super nice, we had this beautiful pre-hypnosis interview session where I talked about my life and I felt I could trust her, yet I still was nervous about it. And so if you're feeling nervous, it's natural, it's normal. The key is, if you have questions, that you want answered, they could be anything about relationships, about patterns, about past lives, about current lives, future lives, about someone else. It may sound like I'm like Jojo the psychic saying, hey, I can answer everything. But this is very different from a psychic reading. In a psychic reading, someone is telling you what it's all about. Whereas in a QHHT session, your higher self is coming through you and telling you the answers. And so, exactly as Lisa said, we are, as the practitioners, are just the guides. We're there as the DJs, queuing up the universal music that needs to come up. We ourselves don't know what's going to come up. What will come up is what's meant to come up for you based on your asking. Ask and it is given. Knock and you shall receive. So from the time that you enter into this session where you're being interviewed, we're going over your life from your birth till now, the things that are important to you, you are asking, you're proclaiming, you're lamenting, you are having the universe listening to you at the edge of its seat to, okay, what does this person want? How can we best help them now that they're ready for what they're saying they're ready for? And if you actually are ready for it, you will get an experience like Lisa got.
It's incredible.
You will be taken on the ride of a lifetime.
The ride of a lifetime. In the pre-interview, it's pretty. So I'm such a nerd. I mean, at heart, I'm just such a nerd. And in that pre-interview, you're just scratching the surface of the threshold between conscious mind and subconscious mind. And you're just sort of dancing around the edges of possibility. And the question is that threshold, right? You can't necessarily come up with the answers. Otherwise, you'd be living your perfect dream life. And none of us are. There's always room for more. Always, always, always. But that threshold of a question holds so much possibility. And when your conscious mind can't answer that question, that's when you have subconscious mind says, I actually hold some answers here for you. And then beyond that, bigger than that is your quantum experience, which is we have all experiences that has the answer for you. And now that gets to be shared. Now, the word hypnosis, listener, can be a little just, uncomfortable for some people. Listen, straight up, it was for me. I was the person who was like, do not make me cluck like a chicken when I come out of this. Don't make me
I was
do it.
afraid of that too, you know?
Yes. Yes.
But
And I was like, I know how all of this works. MK
yeah,
Ultra. Don't go controlling shit and make me into some assassin. It'd be cool, but I don't want to live my life like that. I'm a
right,
mother.
right.
But so in that regard, you have to find the right person that resonates with you, that makes you feel comfortable. And in that comfort, you're still going to have some discomfort. You're still going to have some fear. But what Ali just said, the practitioner is literally just guiding you. That's it. The practitioner doesn't take your information, receive more information, mix it up, and give you a message. That's not how it works. It isn't. He does zero interpretation. He does zero script writing. Nothing, nothing. It's literally you are talking. You are just conscious enough to be able to hear your own words. And then I'm assuming you record it so that the person can listen back to what it is that they have to say.
Yes, we always record it. And I actually
Yeah.
go a step further and I video record it with the permission of the client.
Yeah.
And if they allow me to and they want to benefit humanity as well, we put it up on YouTube. So if you want, you can see a lot of the sessions just, to get a sense of what people experience. I have
Yeah.
at least 25 of the sessions posted on my YouTube channel, thanks to these brave souls. But every session is at the minimum audio recorded for the benefit of the client. So, and it's supposed to be private unless the client explicitly says, yes, go ahead and share it.
It's amazing.
Hmm.
What you hear are just the words alone are incredible. For me personally, I agreed to be on video. I agreed for audio.
Nice.
I heard my voice change. I watched back. I saw my face change, and all of the essence of me would morph in and out. And it was just absolutely incredible and so profoundly peaceful. And then it takes a long time to process all of that. But what you wind up seeing is changes manifested in your everyday life that you have nothing to do with on a conscious level. Things just start changing. Your relationships with other people change. For me, I watched my nephew literally change before my very eyes. I watched my business change. I watched my relationships change. I watched my marriage grow and evolve. My relationship with my children grow and evolve. My relationship with my mother, holy shit. Holy shit. That
Is your mother the Irish one or the Japanese?
Japanese.
Wow. Interesting.
Yes, Japanese. I mean, it was like a 180. Absolutely incredible. It's almost like going back in time to the first domino and changing how it falls. And you watch this unfold into your life and you go, "Oh my god, I get to have the exact same experiences with different impact, with different resonance, with different understanding." from a different perspective, maybe all the exact same events, just from a different perspective. That changes everything, listener. Everything. It's
Yeah.
incredible.
And what's really interesting is I can really resonate with you, Lisa, because being on that side as a client and experiencing it is very unique. And now being on the other side, having done so many sessions with many, many different people of different age groups, different backgrounds, different genders. I also recently had a transgendered person, which was so amazing. And this, her name is Saskia, by the way, and her session is on my YouTube channel. It's amazing.
Okay.
Um, I don't even know which one to talk about if you ask me to, because each one is so awesome. It's like I no longer need to go to the IMAX, cinema anymore, because
Right?
I just sit in on the sessions and I get to now experience with my clients. Obviously, the client is experiencing more vividly what's going on. It's almost like they're having this kind of like avatar experience.
Mhm.
Not all of them, but most of them. And I get to also feel a lot of it. And sometimes I also see those things because of my psychic abilities that I've been developing alongside this. I get to experience and feel what they're experiencing and feeling, in addition to them sharing what they're experiencing. So for me, it's such a gift that it's like, although I'm holding space for them, although I'm getting paid for what I do, I feel like the gift is the session to me, because the sessions always give not just to the client, but to the practitioner as well.
Mhm.
It's like
Mhm.
the more that I do this, and the more I do this without ego, and the more I do it for the benefit of the client, I feel like I get up leveled every time. As crazy as that may sound.
No, 100%. So I completely understand that. I'm a Reiki master,
Oh,
and
cool.
when working with others, I receive.
Yes.
I mean, it's that simple. The monetary exchange is the contract. Of, okay, I value this. I value your time, I value your skill set, and I value everything you bring to the table as an expert. And I
Absolutely.
say, "Thank you very much. Thank you for valuing me, my time, and all of this shit that's in the 3D. Now, let's get to work." You know what I mean? Like, "Thank you so
I
much."
love your style. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Arigato.
Yes, arigato,
Now
let's get
you're
to work.
done. Sayonara. Oh my God.
Yes. Well, I am sad to say that we are coming up on the 1 hour mark. I could talk to you forever. This has been such a pleasure. Oh my God. Listeners, if you have any questions, again, scroll down. There are links. I will have links for Ali's YouTube channel. I will have links for his website so that you can learn more. His website is chock full of information. He has a beautiful blog, again, the beautiful videos, and amazing explanations that take something that can be very cerebral and make it very grounded. I love the way that you approach this as just very fundamental, easy, approachable. And that's what I love the most about this. It's not some woo woo magic bullshit. It is actually based in science, and it really freaking helps. So that checks all the boxes for me. And you're a rock star from the East Coast. So again, like extra gold stars for you. I will actually also provide links to the books that you mentioned, to the different authors, to Dolores Cannon. I'm going to provide links for that too, just because I think that educating yourself, listener, is really super important for anything. I especially think that that holds true for this specific subject. Um, Thank you so much for being here, listener. Thanks for hanging in with us for this long. I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I did. And I am going to let Ali close this out. Do you have any parting words?
Thank you for this opportunity. I'd like to say to the listeners, if you're listening to this, there's no coincidence. Things happen for a reason in divine timing. Know it and believe it. Lisa and I have come through our own journeys of awakening to come to the knowing that there's something far greater going on, and it's all being orchestrated from within us. And if this session resonates with you, if any of these words, any of these stories resonate with you, you owe it to yourself to look deeper. Lisa is providing the links for you. I have my blogs. In my blog, I talk about my favorite books. I talk about my journey. If you have questions, you can reach out to me. If you want a coaching session, not even, or even a free discovery call, just reach out through my website. I'm happy to do that. Whether you go with me or anyone else, it's perfectly fine. And just to clarify, I offer another modality, which in essence is it's QHHT. It was one of the students of Dolores who went on to develop something called BQH,
Mm,
Beyond Quantum Healing. And that allows us to do this remotely in any corner of the world or universe where they can connect with us through Zoom or telephone. So now I'm able to offer this worldwide because QHHT, we're forbidden by Dolores to offer it online. So we don't call it QHHT. But because I'm also certified in BQH, I'm able to do it, and we call that BQH. We don't call it QHHT. So I just
oh, I
wanted
love
to
that.
clarify
Thank you for
that,
that distinction. Yeah.
yeah, you're welcome. And again, thank you for this. I'm sure that this will open many, many doors for listeners who are curious. And again, thank you to you, Lisa, for giving me this opportunity. You're a lovely host. You have an incredible podcast. And I'm so grateful. I hope that we do this again. This was super fun.
Agreed.
Yeah. And
Thank
thank you to the
you.
listeners. Thank you for listening, guys, putting up with us East Coasters.
Listen, if they've been listening for a while, they know what they're in for.
All right. Cool.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for listening. And I will see you next time on Find Your Flow. Okay. That's it, listener. Before you go, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and set your notifications to never miss an episode. If you'd like even more with me, come on over to nagarelife.com. And if you enjoyed this episode as much as I did, go on and share it. Share it with somebody that you think would enjoy it as well. All right. I'll see you next time.